Most people can't balance work, learning, fitness, hobbies, free time without burning out. They try, but end up sacrificing sleep, quitting the hobbies they started in the first place, or letting their health slide. But here's the thing, it's not only possible to balance everything you want to do, it actually takes way less effort than you think. I've balanced 60-hour work weeks, full-time college, while still having time to go to the gym and build new creative hobbies. That's exactly why I'm so confident no one will give you a more effective weekly system in less time. I'm taking you step by step, and by the end, you'll see why scheduling less actually helps you get more done. Let's start with step number 1, brain dump everything. The first thing I do is empty my head from anything fighting for my attention, and I mean everything. Because here's what most people don't realize. That mental clutter steals from your focus every single day. Work projects, appointments, meetings, deadlines, even tiny things like calling the dentist's office. Right now, I don't want you to organize, I don't want you to filter, I just want you to get it all out of your head. But here's where most people mess up. They stop with the messy list and think that's good enough. And when it's time to plan, the chaos from the messy list makes it even harder to start. So here's the key. You need to tag each note with a specific letter. It lets you know what part of your life it's tied to. So I use G for growth or learning, W for work, P for personal life, and F for fitness. Make sure to use a notebook or any notes app on your phone. Within 2 to 3 minutes, you're gonna have a complete snapshot of everything that's important throughout your week. You're no longer letting it bounce around and drain your focus from the stuff that actually matters. Once that's done, we're gonna move on to step number 2, putting the immovable pieces in place. Look at your notes and find anything that has a fixed time or a fixed date. These are your immovable pieces. They're non-negotiables. They're gonna happen whether or not you plan for them. Think things like doctor's appointments, work meetings, any physical therapy sessions you have coming up. You want to make sure you drop them into your calendar first so you can lock them in. Doing this will give you a clear picture of how much space you actually have after you deal with all your immovable objects. If you're a fan of color coding, I personally put these in gray. It helps me differentiate them from everything else without distracting from my focus or work blocks. From there, we can start shaping the rest of our week around these non-negotiables. But here's the trap most people fall into. Life happens. Meetings run late, traffic builds up, so you need to have built-in buffers around these non-negotiables. Never stack deep work or personal priorities right after one of these blocks. Always leave 15 minutes before and 15 minutes after as a little buffer zone. If your schedule gets packed edge to edge according to non-negotiables, one little slip could throw off your entire day. Okay, steps 1 and 2, done. Now here's where we're going to separate the productive from the pretenders. Step 3 is where we create the high impact part of your week. These are 60 to 90 minute blocks where real progress actually takes place. If you can maximize these periods, you're going to be pulling ahead of everyone way faster than you even thought was possible. Not emails, not admin tasks, only the one thing that, if completed, moves your week forward in a big way. For most people, that's a key work project, a big exam to study for, or a creative goal you've been chasing. The mistake most people make is they leave these blocks feeling flexible. If you leave them like that, the moment anything else urgent comes up, you're going to instantly replace this deep work block. Does that sound familiar? I thought so, because I ran into this same exact problem when I was trying to balance school with content creation. When I finally decided to lock in my deep work anchors, I got better grades, I was able to upload more consistently, and they stopped fighting against each other, but started working together. So that's why I think you should aim for 3 deep work anchors a week at the bare minimum. Ideally in the morning when your brain is at its sharpest. Morning work hits different, like 2 to 3 times better than afternoon work. You can think of this because your prefrontal cortex, the part of your brain responsible for critical thinking and problem solving, is basically running on premium fuel, allowing you to work faster and more efficiently. So I want you to treat these deep work anchors like appointments with your future self. Give them as much respect as you do meetings with your actual boss. Because if you don't schedule these anchors, your week will fill itself with everything but the work that matters most. Once those are in place, step 4 will zoom in on what helps you win every single day. But let's pause for a second. So far, you've cleared mental clutter, locked in commitments, and prioritized your future self with deep work anchors. Now, we're going to be zooming in on the more granular level to show how you can actually achieve all of these goals. For that, we're going to use MITs throughout your day. These are just your most important tasks. But before we get into that, if you're enjoying this video so far, make sure to leave a like and subscribe. I cut through all the noise to only give you what actually works. Now, here's my strategy with the MITs. Each evening, I choose 3 that I'm going to accomplish the following day. Not a 20-item to-do list, not a catch-up on everything I have to do, just 3 individual things. These are the tasks that even if the rest of the day is a wash, as long as these are completed, I made progress forward. Where people go wrong with MITs is making them too fuzzy. Things like work on a project aren't specific enough. They need to be measurable and very specific to the goal you want to achieve. This is so you know exactly what to do, when it needs to be done, and why you're doing it. Now, I load these into TickTick, which is just a basic task manager. So you can use Apple Notes, you can use written notes, whatever helps you have these at the front of your vision every single day. That way you can glance at the list and know exactly what needs to get done today. And to make sure those blocks actually happen and you actually stick to your calendar, this next step is going to add a protective layer. Step 5 is your productivity insurance policy. Add buffer times to everything you do. We've already talked about buffers around your non-negotiables, but they're just as important around your most important tasks. If your deep work starts at 10 a.m., you don't want to spend 20 minutes pulling up files, prepping your workspace, getting the right tabs open. So you need to handle all of that beforehand. I decided to implement prep blocks into my weekly calendar. This is just 5 to 10 minutes before a specific working period that I can go through and review my notes, set up my workspace, pull up the right tabs for my documents. This allows me to immediately get into work as soon as I'm supposed to start. People skip this because it feels too small to matter. But that tiny prep window can buy you 30 extra minutes of deep focus once that block starts. So if I'm working on an essay, I'm not just going to stop on a random sentence. I'm going to go ahead and finish out the paragraph and maybe even get a little bit extra to understand what I'm working on next. That's what the buffer behind tasks allow me to do. It allows me to set myself up for a clean alley-oop the next time I work. Those little adjustments make it almost impossible for tasks to spill over and ruin the day. Now, step 6 is an absolute game changer. Do a daily 2-minute reset. This is the step that basically everyone skips because it feels too small to matter. But if you can just manage a 2-minute daily reset, you're going to be soaring miles ahead of everyone else. If you don't course correct your schedule daily, your plan gets further and further from reality until you're running on a fantasy weekly schedule. I've seen people make an absolutely beautiful weekly calendar on Sunday, but it fall apart by midweek because they didn't constantly adapt when life happened. Here's how it looks. I open my calendar, look at any tasks that I completed throughout the day, and mark those as complete. Then I scan for anything I maybe slacked off on a little bit. If I identify it as important, I move it to an MIT for the following day. I also do a 30-second scan to identify any gaps in my knowledge or my execution. If I'm consistently noticing that I'm not completing my daily MITs, I might be aiming too large, so I need to refresh how I'm planning those. If I'm very easily completing my MITs within the first few hours of the day, maybe I need to aim a little bit larger or a little bit more challenging. Those types of adaptations are only available because I'm doing that constant reset. It also prevents any problems from piling up before your entire schedule becomes a wreck. Last month, I didn't realize I hadn't sent my video over to my editor in over 2 days. If I didn't do my daily reset, I would have never noticed this and I would have never gotten my upload out on time. But here's the golden rule when it comes to moving MITs. Never roll something over twice. If it's been moved twice and it still isn't completed, either it's not important enough to actually be an MIT or get completed by you, or you're aiming way too large and you need to break it down into smaller, more achievable goals. You want to make sure your MITs are always timely and actionable, as these are the backbone to this entire system. And here's step 7, the one that sounds crazy but actually changes everything. Follow the 60% rule. This one feels wrong because our brain thinks more scheduled equals more productive. But in reality, overscheduling is why so many people burn out and abandon their plan as soon as they start it. I only fill about 60% of my available working hours throughout the week. The rest is intentional white space. You know, a friend inviting you to hang out. Maybe you're feeling a little bit burnt out and you need kind of a reset. Or you wanted more time at the gym. These things happen, so you have to make intentional space for them. Think of it like a budget. If you spend 100% of your paycheck on day 1, the moment that first unexpected bill comes, you're ruined. So I like to only spend 60% of my budget to allow that 40% to be adaptable. And here's the kicker. That intentional white space makes your focus time even sharper because you already know you built time in to relax and breathe a little. It's the difference between sustainable productivity and one that crashes by the end of the week. So here's your homework. And yes, I'm calling it homework because that's what separates the watchers from the doers. Pick one step from this video and try it this week. Just one single step. I want you to come back to the comments and let me know how it worked or what you think I could have improved throughout this video. I read every single comment and I make sure to reply to all of them. Thank you so much for watching. I hope to see you in the next one.